Hi everyone, it's Vanessa Scotto from Map to Self, Women's Guide to the Road Less Traveled. Today I wanted to speak about the inner critic because I just had a client that I worked with who was stuck in the grips of this tyrant inner critic that she's experiencing. But I know that almost every single one of you can relate to this experience of being whipped and being flagellated by your own inner critic. It was pretty simple. I said to her, well, who's the worst critic in your life right now? And she said, you mean besides me? So how many of you actually relate to what I'm speaking to? I know I do. Who is harder on themselves than we are? Just watching myself in the camera as I speak to you, or when I listen to myself on my talk radio show, it's so hard just to be at peace and not to label and judge and attack myself. So one of my favorite quotes, it's on my website, vanessascotto.com. I cannot remember all of it, so I'm just going to encapsulate it. It's by Erica Jong. And she said, the best slave doesn't need to be beaten by her slave master, for she is beating herself, but not with a whip, not with a chain, not with a billy club, with her harsh words. And with her harsh words and her condemnation, she is self-flagellating. And this is something that I see over and over and over again. And it's not just the abusive voices that are the problem, but what happens is they turn us in on our shell. They turn us in on ourselves. They inhibit us from acting, from shining in the world, right? They're always keeping such a close watch on ourselves. Or we slip by, we act out, we are who we are, and then afterwards they start to question, should I have said that? Should I have done that? Stupid, 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 how could you? I'm sure a lot of you know what I'm talking about. The other thing that our inner critic can do is that it has the power to start to have us become aggressive against one another. Why? How does this happen? Well, our experience with our inner critic can be so painful. It can be so traumatizing to have that voice repeat over and over in your head that as soon as somebody trips our wire and creates an experience in which we just might start to criticize ourselves, what do? For self-preservation, we turn the attack onto them. Because in essence, it's a lot less painful to attack them than to have to feel into what they said, because our self-critic is going to join in. It's going to pile on. Whether or not what they said was even that critical, we get this sense that we're in trouble. We're in danger. And we're in danger of going down because of the harsh reality of our inner experience. So where did this come from? How did we all become so very hard on ourselves? Well, I don't actually have an answer to this. We internalize voices around us. We get the sense from early childhood, hey, you know what? Love is conditional. Our parents like us better when we're like this. Our lovers like us better when we do that. We get more attention if we act such and such a way, and we get distaste when we do other things. So yeah, part of it is just created by being aware of the fact that love is conditional. But what's the major dilemma? Well, twofold. One is the internal angst and suffering that comes just from beating ourselves up and worrying and playing it over and over again. It creates, again, a bubble, like an angst bubble. And then in this bubble of self-flagellation, of pain, of criticism, of torture, you can't feel anything else. There's no breeze in this bubble. So can you feel the beauty around you? Can you feel the love around you? You can't. So it begins to form an isolation cage where you can't have a sense of the magnificence of the sunset. And most importantly, and this is the part that I see happening over and over again, we don't have a sense of the love that's around us. Now, one of the reasons the critic comes about We're trying to make ourselves wonderful so people will love us. Why? We don't believe we're worthy. We don't believe we're lovable. So what is it we're yearning for? An experience of love, lovability, knowing our worth. But then what happens? We get into the cocoon of self-criticism. We curl in. First, we're kind of hard to be around, right? We can be awfully prickly if we have such a strong self-critic. But second, that cocoon is like a dungeon. And then you can't even let in the love that's there for you, the joy that's there for you, because people, it is everywhere. First of all, most of you do have people in your life right now who love you and you're not feeling it. But more than that, love, beauty, kindness, joy, it is everywhere. It is abundant. But it takes mindfulness and it takes the ability to slow down and let the experience be felt. What we need to do is transcend this dialogue for a moment, transcend our own inner angst so that we can feel the sunshine and the breeze on us. So, this is a quick talk. I'm not going to be able to solve a lot of things here. It's more food for thought. Step out of your dilemma more. How do you stop the inner critic? Put up a stop sign, put up police tape. Don't go there. And one of the ways in which you'll do that is through distraction, through transcending yourself to experience something greater. Whether it's beholding a piece of art, whether it's listening to poetry or music, or taking a walk in the grass barefoot, watching a child, laughing with someone, being of service, being kind. These are all ways in which we can transcend this self-critical dungeon in which we're suffocating, because we are suffocating, ladies. So, take a risk today to step outside of your own mind, of all of the lies that it's telling you. Suspend belief in these voices for just a moment and do it through distraction, through transcending yourself and your dilemmas by reaching out to someone, talking to someone, letting in beauty, letting in art, putting on music, lighting candles, any of these things. This is just the first little sliver in all the times I might be talking about the self-critic. But it helps me get through the day, and it helps my clients, and I hope that it can be of service to you. Remember, you're worthy, you're lovable, but you just have to let that experience in or you'll never know it. Thanks, and I'll see you next time.